I was very fascinated to learn that I don't exist solo. There are several versions of me existing right now as we speak.
When one soul comes in, it splits itself through electromagnetic fission into different timelines, existing as 12 individual self. So this is what you call like your soul family. So when you add 12 individual, 12 soul, 12 oversoul, 12 avatar, 1728 simultaneous versions of me existing right now.
Earth has multiple timelines.
Absolutely, yes. Your consciousness can move freely between dimensions. It's not about burning karma. It's about activating your multidimensional self. When many people dream, they're going to the astral world. And if you remember your dreams, it's probably a sign that you've integrated your heart chakra. Sound is powerful. If you want to heal anything, go to where it first started. Your own voice is the most powerful healing instrument on the planet. The more ancient the language, the more powerful the sound.
Something big is going to be happening in 2030.
So we're entering into a new era in eternal life wisdom. Some people say we're exiting the age of Kali Yuga and we're entering into a new age of Aquarius.
Dr. Samuel B. Lee, MD, is a board-certified psychiatrist, author, and a pioneering voice in the evolution of mental health and human consciousness. Dr. Lee is forging a new model of psychiatry, one that bridges neuroscience, psychedelic-assisted healing, and the emerging science of quantum morphogenetic fields and the 12-stranded DNA.
So if you follow and flow with your intuition, you can never go wrong in life because it will lead you to your highest evolutionary potential. On the 3D, third dimension, which most humans think that they're 3D, when you continue to go up higher and higher in frequency, there is a frequency where there is no time.
5,500 years ago, there was this major memory wipe where memories of the humanity was wiped out.
Every dimension is a bandwidth of frequency, which is represented by a color. When I'm in dimension 1, it's red, it's the root. Most humans are stuck in the mental mind. Kundalini is dimension 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it lives at the bottom of the spine. And it can rise spontaneously. The 8th chakra is right here behind. They have a book and they call it the Mahabharata. This word comes from the original word before Sanskrit. It's called Maharata. Before India, there was Egypt. Before Egypt, there was Atlantis. People are coming out and say, I remember my Lemurian family. And then you will remember, I am ancient. Oh, I do have multiple lives. They originally spoke the first language to activate the DNA. When you die, a lot of people say, oh, go towards the light. This light is a false light. That keeps people stuck in a reincarnation loop.
As founder and CEO of Transcendence Mental Health and Limitless Living MD, he focuses on activating the innate human capacity to heal, thrive physically, mentally, and spiritually. He is also the author of The Spiritual Guide to Mental Health, and we're honored to welcome Dr. Lee for his debut podcast on the Body to Being show.
90-something% of humanity is stuck in the third dimensional mind. In India, they have the word Rishi. But what does that even mean? Rishi is your 13, 14, 15 dimensional self. Humanity has been wiped out twice. And this is the third seeding of human being.
So a dog can take birth as a human? That is
It's
a
rare.
possibility.
It's very rare, but it can happen. If your lover, if you're not attracted to their scent, it's a very, very good sign that there's some type of a disharmony in the energetic field. So this is the power of scent. It can awaken cellular memory. It can heal.
Can you give us one quick technique to work towards activating the 8th chakra?
Sure. You can take your 3 fingers like this.
Did you know that we have 1,728 versions of ourselves existing right now? Or that there aren't just 7 levels of existence, but there are 15 levels of existence apart from Bhu, Bhuvar, Swaha, Maha, Japa, Tapa, and Satya. And that the human system holds multiple exit points through which the soul can exit. And did you know that there is something huge that is going to happen in 2030? Today we have with us a very exciting guest who's a medically trained doctor, a psychiatrist, and a very advanced spiritual practitioner who's going to be talking about some of the most mind-bending, unexplored spiritual, metaphysical concepts that you may have never heard of before. So please do watch the video till the end, share this video with your friends and family, and if you haven't already, do subscribe. So, Namaskaram, Dr. Samuel Lee. Thank you
Namaskaram.
so much for being a part of the Body to Being. How are you doing today?
Yeah, really good, Shlloka. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise. So, you're one of those rare voices who's bridged the two worlds beautifully. You're a trained medical doctor, you're an advanced spiritual practitioner. So, today I'd like to decode some very intriguing and fascinating concepts around metaphysics, souls, existence, lost cities from you. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, let's get started. Sounds fun.
Okay. I don't exist solo. There are several versions of me existing right now as we speak. And I was shocked to learn of the number, so I'd love to hear it from you. There are more than 1,000 versions that exist. So please tell us about this.
Sure. So Jesus said one time, I am the vine, okay, one soul stream, okay? It's one energy, like a vine. You are the branches. The branches from the tree, there's 12 branches. So the 12 apostles, the 12 knights, Arthur and the 12 knights. So their soul family is 12. And when one soul comes in, it splits itself through electromagnetic fission into different timelines, existing as 12 individual self, but there's actually coming from one soul stream. So it's like one energy becomes 12 when it comes to Earth. Okay? So this is what you call like your soul family. Now, remember the soul, there's an oversoul. So when one oversoul comes in, it splits into 12 souls. And one soul splits itself into 12. Okay? So then, remember I said the avatar. So one avatar becomes 12 oversouls. One oversoul becomes 12 souls. So so 12 individual, 12 soul, 12 oversoul, 12 avatar. So what's 12 times 12 times 12? 1,728 simultaneous versions of me existing right now on different timelines. And so this is why the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? They're trying to portray this, that there's different versions. And when you go into 0 point, you can connect with different versions of you if you want.
So, where would these versions be? Would they be here on Earth, or can they be in multiverses or parallel universes?
Good question. It can be both. So there's a parallel Earth. There's different timelines on Earth. There's different. Remember, there's no time. On a certain frequency, there's no time. So yes, they can be existing in different locations and different times and different parallel Earths all simultaneously.
So you're saying Earth has multiple timelines. You and I perhaps are experiencing one timeline, and there could be several such timelines?
Absolutely. Yes. There's many, many, many timelines. For example, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. So World War I, World War II, World War III is the same frequency. It's a loop. It's a loop, a time loop, right? And if enough of the collective consciousness does not evolve, and they say, okay, we're separate from each other, let's fight each other again. Well, if the collective consciousness decides what timeline they're on. So if enough of the collective consciousness is in fear and they want to fight each other, then we're going to repeat World War III, World War IV, World War V, World War VI, right? It's a frequency. It's not time. There's no. If you want to understand the secrets, think in terms of frequency. So then, if I'm just, let's just say somebody is continuing to do the same karmic loop, samskara, make the same choice, same thought, same word, same belief, same attitude over and over. They're gonna loop in a karmic loop. Doesn't matter what body they have. They're gonna be in the same karmic loop. But as soon as someone becomes aware, I'm not going to do that karmic loop again. I'm aware of this loop. I'm going to choose love, not fear. I'm going to choose a higher frequency this time. And I'm going to stay in this higher frequency. Then you exit one timeline and you enter a new cycle, a new timeline.
Okay. So when you say that the soul has multiple exits, is this what it means?
It's a good question. So there's no force in source. For there to be love, there has to be a choice. So if God, source, is love, she always gives choice. So there comes certain points before you come to earth. Even coming to earth is a choice. So when you come to earth, there's a specific lesson that people want to learn. They choose their mother, they choose their father, they choose a specific karmic lesson that they want to learn. And
Based on what?
based on their choice.
The choice would be based on what?
Because Source wanted to know itself in the beginning. God had a desire, and it asked the question, who am I? And it wanted to know itself through you, through me, through 8 billion people. And the only way it could really know itself better was to split itself into different versions of itself. And so there's a very specific science, first creation, physics, where it splits itself, right? Omnipolar, a source particle, splits into electric, magnetic, feminine, masculine, and then that splits itself, and then it becomes a little bit more dense into crystals, right? Crystalline structure, and then a morphogenetic field, and universes and galaxies all existing, and Earth is one of these. And throughout this process, there's a choice. There's a call that's sent out. Hey, we have this planet Earth. They're calling for volunteers. They're calling for people who want to help. And then there's people who have this great love of Source, and they want to understand Source better. So some ancient souls choose to be born to families which are very difficult. They go through abuse. They go through poverty. They go through all these different things because they know that she who is forgiven much can love much. He who has been to the darkest of the darks can appreciate the light. In this unique place called Earth, you can experience polarity.
What are indigo children?
Yeah, so indigo children are, some people call them volunteers. So remember, it's always a choice to come to Earth. So these are some ancient souls who Earth sent out a call. We need help. Humanity has forgotten who they are. So indigo children are contracted children who come to Earth based upon a contract, a soul contract, to help Mother Earth remember. And so oftentimes as little children, they come in with their 4th, 5th, and 6th stranded DNA online, which means that they can remember every DNA strand is a frequency. So they can literally sense frequencies, they can feel things, they can see things that most human beings stuck in 3D cannot. So oftentimes when they come to Earth, the 3D system is going to say something's wrong with this person. Let's put them on psychiatric medications. And they're telling their mom, no, I'm really seeing it. I'm really hearing it. But their mom doesn't believe them, right? So they're coming in on a soul contract and their soul, their frequency is already activated, which is part of their gift. But because society has not understood them, oftentimes they put them on medications or lock them up in a hospital. But actually, they're here to help humanity remember on a volunteer contract. These are indigo children. And there's 3 different, they birth in waves. So in the 70s, there was a birth, and then there was indigo type 1, type 2, type 3, and they have different contracts and abilities, but they're on a service contract to help humanity remember.
The kids who are born in today's day and age, would they be indigo children?
Some of them are. So these days, there's a different wave, if you want to call it. Some are calling them rainbow children. Some are calling them crystal children. These days, the kids coming in these days, some of them are coming because the parents have done so much work, clearing the karma, right? Preparing the womb, preparing the vessel, that some very, very, very ancient souls, some of them have never even been born on Earth, are coming in now. And they're coming in to help. And you can tell when you look into some of these children's eyes, they're so clear. They remember everything. And remember, don't believe a word I say. Some of these kids, like 3-4 years old, they're already drawing these ancient pictures. Like they have the memory with them already. So this is why I really believe the future for humanity is bright, because these children are coming in with codes and service contracts, and they're very, very clear.
So one of the first things I came across when I was looking through your page was 2030. Something big is going to be happening in 2030. What's really happening?
Yeah. So in India, you guys know that there's cycles of time. So there's the Kali Yuga era. And in India, I think they say 25,000 something year cycles, right? And so there's, when you enter into, you're exiting one cycle and you're entering into a new cycle, it's almost like there's 2 train tracks, which are literally polarization of frequencies about to split. And so if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. So the core frequency, or the Schumann resonance of Mother Earth, you can measure this, scientists, is increasing. So we're entering into a new era, In eternal life wisdom, it's not 25,000 year cycles, it's 26,500 year cycles. So some people say we're exiting the age of Kali Yuga, and we're entering into a new age of Aquarius, which some people call the golden age. But there's no force in source. For there to be love, there has to be a choice. For true love to exist, there has to be a choice. If a big guy on a Harley Davidson motorcycle says to a little girl, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this, that's not love, that's fear. So everybody is now choosing from 2025 to 2030. Love, transparency, respect, unity, holarchy, where we're all equal. Or there's another track, a train going this way. And this train is about fear, false evidence appearing real, hierarchy, competition. And so all of these systems, which are not in alignment with the eternal law of one, which is in law with the eternal source law, is going to be exposed. And we see it happening right now. 5 companies own 90% of the medical system, the political system. And so as the frequency of Mother Earth increases, we're exiting the dark age, and people are going to have to choose once everything is in the light of transparency. In 2030, right, there's going to be a polarization over the next 5 years, and people are going to start to choose. And it does mean we're still going to be in the same location, but the frequency will be completely different. And so the hologram or your life will reflect the frequencies of the choices that we make. And this is going to, speed up. The trains are going to continue leaving on different tracks because time spirals, right? And so as we're exiting one time and we're exiting a new one, there's going to be people who choose to stay on the old train, and there's going to be people who choose to stay on a new train, which is going in to create new systems that are based on transparency, respect, unity.
So is this what you call as a time split? You have these two sects of people who are leading different lives altogether with different sentiments and different principles?
Absolutely.
Maybe one is the light and the other is the dark, or positive and negative?
Sure. I would more look at it as just like there is no negative or positive or good or bad. What I would say is different degrees of density, right? So everything is from source. Everything is of source, but there will be people who continue to live in density, and there will be those people who choose to live in harmony.
When you say density, can you break this down for me?
Absolutely. So a lot of people refer to the word spirit, okay? But everything is frequency. So Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration. So spirit is an ether or gelesic radiation on the unmanifest side of creation, which densifies itself into the great avatars. They were able to, the liquid light version of themselves. And then it comes down, we'll talk about it later, the Oversoul is actually a little bit more dense than the avatar. So the Oversoul then becomes a soul, which is the light body, which is a carbon crystalline, less dense version. And then it becomes the human body. Dimension 3 is the mind. Dimension 2 is the emotions. And dimension 1 is the physical body. And so spirit becomes more and more dense as it downsteps itself into consciousness, into a physical body. So on the 3D, third dimension, which most humans think that they're 3D, but actually there appears to be time on the 3D because it's so dense. But when you continue to go up higher and higher in frequency, there is a frequency where there is no time, only consciousness moving through different densities. So when these great avatars of the past, such as Jesus, Babaji, Buddha, when they meditated, they became at one with all, unattached to anything. So their consciousness can go to a place where there's no time or space, and they could see. They could see beyond time or space. And this is the same thing as intuition. When you're in your 4th, 5th, and 6th stranded DNA or your soul, your superconscious mind, Freud called it, you can have access to information before it happens. No time. So if you follow and flow with your intuition, you can never go wrong in life because it will lead you to your highest evolutionary potential, right? So there's This is the concept of density, right? And there's light, and then it becomes more dense as it becomes human.
Would it be right to say that we're talking about this movement from subtle to gross, from subtle body to gross body?
Yeah, that's one way of saying the same thing. Subtle body is the subtle energetic body, and then it becomes gross. And some, scientists will say particle and wave, right? So particle and wave, so like same thing. And this has been proven in science. When you look at and you put awareness, the split lap experiment, it shifts. The awareness brings it into matter. But when it's not, it's just existing as potential.
Okay. You spoke about a couple of concepts, so help us understand this. You spoke about the 3D body, right? The 5D earth, the 7D earth. What is this exactly? Very simplistically put.
Sure. I think the easiest way to explain it for most people is every dimension, okay, is a bandwidth of frequency, which is represented by a color, which is represented by a chakra. So when I'm in dimension 1, as you know, it's red, it's the root, okay, it's a bandwidth of frequency, it's the physical body. And then you go to dimension 2, orange, the sacral chakra, the creative center, it's the emotional body, right? So the universe is mathematical. And then you go to dimension 3, it's yellow, it's the solar plexus, it's the mental mind. And most humans are stuck in the mental mind. But then you can go to dimension 4, which is green, which is the heart chakra, right? And so there's the dimensions, and the universes come in groups of 3. So dimension 1, 2, 3 is one harmonic universe, if you want to call it. And then there's a specific way you can shift into dimension 4, 5, 6, which is chakra 4, 5, 6. And I know in Vedic wisdom, they say there's 7 chakras, the crown, purple. But there's actually more. And so 4, 5, 6 is the soul. 1, 2, 3 is the physical, emotional, mental. 7, 8, 9 is the oversoul, right? Carbon crystalline body. And 10, 11, 12 is the avatar, inner Christos self. And the human has at least the ability for 12-stranded DNA. So when you talk about Babaji, when you talk about these great avatars, when you talk about Kundalini, remember, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. So Kundalini is dimension 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it lives at the bottom of the spine. And it can rise spontaneously when it's time to remember that we're multidimensional. Or you can squeeze it up, right, through Kundalini yoga or through breath work and different practices. And but by the way, I love Baba Ramdev. So that's what they're doing, though. They're bringing up the Kundalini yoga, yeah? So this is dimension 1 through 9. And Tesla said the secrets of the universe, 3, 6, 9. But it is not 3, 6, 9. It's 3, 6, 9, 12. So the chakras, every dimension is a color, a level of mind, a bandwidth of frequency, a dimension, and then 3, 6, 9, 12 is the eternal life code, right? And so these great avatars of the past, they've been able to accrete and their morphogenetic field of their 12-stranded DNA. And that is when you have eternal life, and you can do things such as the great avatars, blink in, blink out, right? The great masters. And this is actually a natural ability of every human being if you can activate the language of the DNA. It's not what you see. It's what you do not see. Thoughts, sound, frequency, and light.
Okay. So this is very interesting. When I went through your page, I learned, because in the Tretya Upanishad, for example, we know about the 7 major chakras. We actually know about the 114 chakras, 112 of which are inside the system, and then you have 2 outside of the body, out of which you have the 7 major chakras, right? When you talk about these 15 chakras, can you help us spot them locationally, geographically in the human system? Where would they be?
Absolutely. So chakra 8 through 15 are morphogenetic chakras. So they're not in the human body. Morphogenetic means, if you study Rupert Sheldrake, he studied this concept called morphogenetic. So for example, when a diabetic cuts off their leg, right, they can still have pain there even though the leg is not there. This is because the morphogenetic field the blueprint which matter comes on is still there, right? So the morphogenetic chakra, if you send it the right sound, light, and symbols, it's energetic chakra, which is part of the energy body more than the physical body. So the 8th chakra is right here behind the thymus gland, right? The 9th chakra is right here in the thalamus in the back of the head. The 10th is a little bit above your head. The 11th is a little bit above your head. The 12th is about 12 inches below your feet. And the 13th is down way by the earth core. And then 14, you go up higher. And then so there's a 15 too. So these are the morphogenetic chakras. And I always say to people, don't believe a word I say. When you actually start to activate them, you will have an experience in your life which will verify what I'm saying. And so there's at least 15 chakras. And the way to activate them is sound, light, and symbols.
Could you give us some of these techniques?
Sure. So I know in ancient India, they have a book and they call it the Mahabharata text, right? The Mahabharata.
Correct.
But actually, this word comes from the original word before Sanskrit is called Maharata, which is called Anuhazimua. So before India, there was Egypt. Before Egypt, there was a migration of, tribes. There was Atlantis. Before Atlantis, there was Lemuria. Before Lemuria, there were the 12 original celestial human tribes. And they originally spoke the first language from which every other language in this universe comes from, which is key-coded to activate the DNA, is called Anuhazimua. So I will sing you one of these tones. Instead of Mahabharata, that word comes from the word Maharata. And Maharata is actually invoking your 12th dimensional avatar in your DNA. So these words are communicating with your DNA that scientists used to call junk. It's not junk. And they're invoking to start activating substrands of your DNA to invoke your avatar 12th dimensional self, your eternal self. So this is one, sound tones if you want to call it. Marata kumbai vectus in evoca uni plium bavectai ma bavectai Yunure amo iste unta isa traja he rapatate ashalumta ija inta doe shada ure akumtan shada ure akumtan shada ure akumtan. So through my voice, I just invoked my D12 avatar self in the original light language, Anuhaji Mua, which communicated with my cells, which begins to activate the DNA through my own voice. And this is why in the past, I used to do Gurumukhi 2 hours a day, because sound is powerful. If you want to heal anything, go to where it first started. In the beginning, the Bible says, God said, let there be light. Said, sound becomes light. So in the beginning, there was sound. So if you want to heal anything, go to where it first started, which is sound. And this is why the great avatars taught mantra, because your own voice is the most powerful healing instrument on the planet. And so the more ancient the language, the more, if you want to call it healing and powerful, the sound. So yes, Sanskrit is amazing. And Gurumukhi, I used to chant Ekong Kar Satanam Siriwai Guru for 2 hours a day. So this was a part of my remembering. But then I found this wisdom, which, before this sound, there was another sound. And now I'm chanting in this language.
In the yogic sense, we say that in evolution, ears were the first to develop and then came about everything else. I want to just clarify the concept of the 3D self, going back to our earlier conversation. When you talk about the 3-dimension earth or the 3-dimension self, it's the same thing, I presume?
So the universe is mathematical. So remember that says it comes in threes. 1, 2, 3 is harmonic universe 1. So this is Earth. We're in Earth. But just like humans are multidimensional,
What do you mean when you say multidimensional?
what I mean by that is we are existing as physical, but we are also existing as light. We are also existing as many different frequencies we exist as. So people can see the aura, right? The auric field, the energy field. This is, yes, this is not dimension 1, 2, 3. This is dimension 4, 5, 6, right? So this is a different dimension, a different energy, a lighter frequency, right? So this is also for Earth. Earth is dimension 1, 2, 3. You can see it. You see physical, emotion, right? But she also exists on multiple dimensions, just like a human. Fifth dimensional Earth is called Tara. Seventh dimensional Earth is called Gaia. And most people cannot see it because they have not activated their multidimensional self. But once you can only perceive from the level that you've created or you've activated. And perception creates reality. So in order to switch from dimension 1, 2, 3 to 4, 5, 6, there's a very specific angular rotation of particle spin and particle pulsation. If you change the angle and the rhythm of the matter, you can switch into a different dimension. And if you don't believe a word I say, we're living in a beautiful time now where you can experience it for yourself. And once you experience it, once you know, you cannot not know because you've actually felt it and experienced it. So we are multidimensional. The greatest lie ever told to humanity is that we're only third dimensional. No, this is not true. We are multidimensional, and the truth will set you free. Dimension 4 is the heart. Remember, every chakra is a dimension, right? So this is the astral world. So when many people dream, they're going to the astral world. Okay, and if you remember your dreams, it's probably a good sign that you've integrated your fourth DNA strand, your heart chakra. And this is why people do meditation on their heart. I am loving kindness, I am loving kindness, I am loving kindness. Because they're literally accreting the frequency of the fourth dimension, right? Dimension 5, the throat chakra, right? And so dimension 6, the pituitary, and the dimension 7, the crown. It's all a dimension, it's all a color. It's universe is mathematical. So, but then the thing is, you have at least 12 dimensions, but most humans are not aware of this because they're living only in D3, in dimension 1, 2, 3. But you can actually experience these multidimensional selves, once again, by activating it through sound. And that's what these great avatars were able to do.
Give us one technique of activating these other dimensions experientially.
Yeah. So I think, these days, probably the easiest way for most people is to do Kundalini yoga. Okay? So Kundalini yoga is dimension 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but it lives in the first 8 cells at the bottom of your spine. The first 8 cells that formed hold the Kundalini. But most people don't know this is dimension 1 through 9, 3, 6, 9. So, but, Sadhguru does not recommend that you force it up. Some people say just let it happen naturally. But Yogi Baijan recommended through pump, suck, you pump it up. And it goes up the spine. And I know the wisdom talks about there's a negative charge, positive charge, right? Magnetic, electric. And then it goes up. But if the chakras are blocked, the energy centers of the chakra, then the person will have a healing crisis. And then if you pump it up too quickly, then you can be ungrounded, right? Because you're forcing it up, you're squeezing it up rather than allowing it to happen naturally, right? But there are ways, for example, there's certain different types these days of plant medicine. There's different types but you have to do it in a very safe container with a facilitator that knows what they're doing in the invisible world. These days, many people are trying to do it, but they don't know what they're doing. So it's very important to find somebody who is very pure and who understands how to hold the space in the invisible world in a pure, aligned way according to the eternal law of one.
Wonderful. So I had a bunch of questions on the DNA and the power of the DNA. But before that, I'd like to understand certain concepts which are to do with the soul. So you've spoken about the avatar soul. You've spoken about soul strands, oversoul. These are very new and fascinating concepts. Could you help us decode each of these and what's their relevance really?
Sure. So a lot of people say the word soul, but they don't know what they're talking about. What is the soul? So I like to explain everything from the perspective of frequency. Everything is energy. So what is the energy of the soul? So the soul is the light body, the 4th, 5th, and 6th stranded DNA. The body, 1, 2, 3, physical, is carbon-based. The soul is carbon crystalline, carbon silica based. So it's lighter, it's less dense version of me.
But how do you measure it? You can't measure it really. Can you?
Well, these days, the Heart Math Institute can measure coming auric field coming from the heart 5 to 15 feet in all directions, a frequency. So you can actually now take pictures of the aura, right? There's certain technologies where you can take pictures of the aura, right? So you can actually, some people, when you activate, like people can see aura, right? So sometimes you can, it depends on the person. Now there's also avatars who can read people's thoughts, because just thought is just energy. It's a cloud of energy. That's it. So if you've activated certain dimensions, then you can have access to these perceptions, access to these frequencies. And that's why all these people used to think, oh, wow, these gurus and these avatars have special ability that I don't have. And what I'm trying to say is you can also activate these things too, if you want. And then, so there's the soul, dimension 456, which is carbon silica, less dense, right? Carbon silica. And the oversoul, 789 dimension, is a pure silica. So if you go online, a lot of these New Agers are talking about the crystal body. So silica is the crystal body. It's carbon, it's just pure silica, pure crystalline body, yeah? So the body can, when it activates, it becomes less dense, right? And then there's dimension 10, 11, 12, which is the avatar, inner Christos self, right? And this is pure liquid light version. It's silica, and then there's liquid light. So it gets carbon silica, soul, pure silica or crystalline is the oversoul, and then there's liquid light version, which is the avatar. I think in India they have the word rishi, okay? Rishi. But what does that even mean? Rishi is your 13, 14, 15 dimensional self, okay? So this goes, remember I said there's 15 chakras. So this is all connected, yeah? You see how it's all interconnected. It's a mathematical. Yeah.
Correct.
There's a Blue Brain project in Switzerland. Blue Brain project. And they're doing research on the brain. And what they're finding is at least 11 dimensional potentiality in the brain. But later on, they will discover more. Science is very slow. Remember, science is only looking at what they can see. Physics. It's what you do not see. Metaphysics. Sound. Thoughts. Words. Beliefs. Attitudes. This is all frequency, which determines the physical. Before anything happens on the physical, it always happens in the metaphysical. This is the world of cause, metaphysics. Physics is the world of effect. So if I continue to have thoughts, words, attitudes, beliefs in a certain way, then my physical is going to reflect that. In order to understand the secrets of the universe, you have to think in terms of frequency. Okay? And so one time during one of my ceremonies, the guy's consciousness popped out of his body. Okay? And he was shown 4 different missions, upgrade. And he was shown, do you want to change your current soul contract? There was one mission where he was shown, it was like, boom, 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 it goes up and there's a lot of lights on it and you will be a light worker. There was another contract where it was shown, on this one, someone is actually requesting to be killed. Do you want to be a murderer? There was another one. So there was these choice points, right? And on some level, even though the physical body doesn't understand the conscious mind, because most humans are operating at a 3D, they're trying to burn karma, right? And this is samskara. This is the belief system that was instilled into humanity that you have to do certain things, you have to be certain things, you have to burn karma. But this is only one, if you believe that, then that's what's going to manifest in your hologram. But if you want to understand frequency, right, it's not about burning karma. Because when you reconnect the 3, 6, 9, 12, then your consciousness can move freely between dimensions. And just like the great avatars of the past, it's not about burning karma. It's about activating your multidimensional self so that when you want to, just like Paramahansa Yogananda, when all of these levels are activated, the Merkaba spin, you can go anytime you want. You can choose to go anytime you want. So you don't have to burn all of your karma. On a certain level, this is a belief system which keeps people trapped in the cycle of reincarnation and samskara. Believing that I have to do something, believing that I have to, all the negative things I've done in all my past lives, I have to. No, Okay, just activate your multidimensional self and correct your Merkaba spins. And if and when on a certain level, we were talking about exit points, there's certain exit points, right, which you've literally put into your contract, where if you choose, you can stay, or if you choose, you can go. And I'm not speaking from something I read. I had an exit point. I could have left, right? So these are things that I've experienced in my life that I'm speaking about, which are happening also in my ceremonies, right? So the concept of having to burn all of your karma, right? And on a certain level, even though the physical body doesn't know it, the oversoul always has a choice. So it's about making the unconscious conscious. So even when, for example, Charlie Kirk in America recently was shot, and they say it was an assassination, on the physical level, that's what it appears to be. But he chose on an oversoul level an exit point. There's a certain place where it's the oversoul, and how you leave, whether you're shot, whether you die in your sleep, this is different, right? But like the oversoul always gets to choose. But the conscious mind is not always conscious of it, because most humans think that they're only third dimensional.
So you spoke about Avicii and the death of Avicii, and there are so many other people who have what to our minds is an untimely death, right? And some have natural death. Are you telling me that all of these are exit points and different kinds of exit points which are conscious in nature? Because in my understanding, I could die consciously or I could die unconsciously. If I die a yogi, doing my sadhanas, doing my meditations, I can have a conscious exit point. But if I am caught up in samsara, in the karmic trap, then I may die unconsciously. Then maybe the choice of who I shall be born as next, or whether I would want to be born again, just simply goes away.
Yeah, so there's different levels of mind, remember? So there's the third dimensional mind, which is, it's a record of the past. So 90-something% of humanity is stuck in the third dimensional mind. But I know in India, at a young age, they teach children about their intuition. So the intuition is in the fourth, fifth, and sixth, the soul, the superconscious mind, right? And yes, it is about making the unconscious conscious, because awareness is the key. So there are those who are stuck in a karmic loop, making the same decisions, same thoughts, words, beliefs, attitudes, because they're unconscious. Awareness is the first step of change. As soon as I become aware of the pattern, as soon as I become aware of the karma, which was passed on from my parents to me, 7 to 11 generations of karma, as soon as that sperm and the egg meet, in the DNA, science shows at least 7 to 11 generations. This is why Holocaust survivors pass on their trauma. So it's passed on from generation to generation to generation to generation. And so until someone in the family comes on a soul contract to heal that family line. And this is usually in the family. A lot of people call this person the black sheep because they're different. They're not following the pattern. They're not doing exactly what everybody did. But they're actually here most of the time to heal the family lineage, because the DNA is all interconnected, to make the unconscious conscious. Oh, wow, I received this from my ancestors, this karmic pattern, right? And there's individual conditioning, there's societal conditioning, there's parental conditioning, there's collective conditioning. And so imagine there's an iPhone, and this iPhone has 1,000 different apps running at the same time. Well, it's going to slow down and it's not going to work very well. This is most people right now in humanity, is they have so many apps. I have to do this, I have to do that. This is not true. This is programming and conditioning. And so as soon as I become aware, then I can connect with my superconscious mind, right? And then, just like the Buddha did under a tree, you can connect with your Buddhic mind. Then you can connect with your Christic mind. Then you can connect with your Nirvanic mind. And this is what the great avatars were able to do. And karma, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything is energy. Thoughts are energy. Words are energy. Intention is energy. And so in the body, all karma is a polarized frequency. So remember I said, if you want to heal anything, go to where it first started, which is sound.
Sound.
So when I'm doing Ekong Kar Sat Nam Siri Well, hey, Guru, my sound is interacting with the water, which is interacting with the karma, which is why certain spiritual teachers say, if you want to burn your karma, chant, right? And so this is the science of higher oscillation sound going into the body and finding the polarized frequency and being able to transmute the karma, right? So, but most humans are only operating from a third dimensional mind. So they cannot understand the concept from a higher level of mind because they have not experienced it. So these words that I'm saying, they might not understand. This is why I say, listen to the energy behind the word, even if you cannot understand with your 3D mind, because there you will find, if you're truly listening with neutrality, with an open mind, is this person saying the truth? Because if this is the truth and it resonates, truth and what is true and what is not true have a different frequency. So if this resonates as true in someone's DNA, get curious. Because if you look into the truth, eventually the truth is going to set you free. But right now, most of humanity is stuck in a third dimensional mind, thinking that they're third dimensional, thinking that, oh, I have to go to work, I have to make money, I have to retire, this is going to be the same karmic loop if they're not able to shift their thoughts, words, beliefs, and attitudes, right, to a super conscious mind, which is beyond just physical.
Okay. I want to bring you back to the idea of death. What is happening to the soul after we die? And you've spoken about how there are multiple exit points. So people die differently. They either choose consciously or unconsciously different exit points. What's happening to the soul hereafter?
Yeah, it's a good question. So remember, Source allows you to choose. Okay? So this is, I think, like one thing that I think a lot of humans outsource their power. They give their power away to a person or a victim or a guru or whatever. But according to your belief systems, so it be done unto you. So if you believe in karma and you believe in the cycle of reincarnation and you believe that Krishna is your God and you believe that Jesus is your savior, then when you die, according to your belief, so it be done unto you. Then you're going to see a blue being. You're going to see Jesus. You're going to see the angels. You're going to see, and they're going to say, it's actually a false light system. It's an artificial hologram. And they're going to say, oh, you didn't burn all your karma, go back. And then you're going to come back, right? So the truth will set you free. When you die, a lot of people say, oh, go towards the light, go towards the light. But oftentimes this light is a false light that keeps people stuck in a reincarnation loop. So actually, instead of going to the light, you say, I am eternal source. I choose to return. It's a choice, right? And this is why, like, the videos that I create, our intention is to help people remember again that source is already inside of you. G-U-R-U. You don't need a middle person between you and God. G-U-R-U. Guru. You are the guru. Look within. Take a look within and you will find you are who you've been looking for the whole time. But take a look within where? Into the intron potential DNA scientists used to call junk. It's not junk, 97% of DNA. It's potential. The 4th, 5th, and 6th is the soul. The 7th, 8th, 9 is the oversoul. The 10, 11, 12 is the avatar. The way to activate it is sound, light, and symbols. And once you know, you cannot not know that you are who you've been looking for the whole time. There is nothing outside of you that you need.
I watched one of your videos where it said that 5,500 years ago, there was this major memory wipe where memories of the humanity was wiped out. And this hasn't just happened once, it's happened thrice over. Can you tell me about this?
Sure. So there's been 3 seedings of humanity. The first one, and actually, like if you read the Mahabharata text, right? Some people say it's the oldest text, but they'll say they're literally talking about spaceships, right? So on Earth has been through a lot, okay? And there's a whole history that Earth does not remember, even way before the Mahabharata text. So there's been the electric wars, right? So that was ended seeding. There's been a 1,000-year war here. So there's been times where humanity has been wiped out twice, okay? And this is the 3rd seeding of human being, okay? And this is the 3rd seeding, and 5,500 years ago in Saqqara, Egypt, okay? if you can cut people off from their fourth, fifth, and sixth stranded, their soul, every DNA strand is a cellular memory. They're not going to remember. So if you change the DNA of human, then they're not going to remember that they are the avatar, that they are the guru, that they are multidimensional. So in Saqqara, Egypt, there was a very specific plan of people who wanted to off-planet, that wanted to control humanity. And so they literally scrambled the DNA of humanity so that they would forget. Because before Egypt, there was Atlantis, but very few people can remember their Atlantis cellular memory because the DNA is not active. But so there was a scrambling, and that's why humanity went through such a dark period, right? It forgot its soul. It was in a third dimensional frequency fence, thinking that it's only 3D. And from this level of mind, there's competition, there's lack, it was disconnected from its soul for the most part for the last. So there was a scrambling of DNA in Saqqara, Egypt, 5,500 years ago in the third sitting. But now, here's the beautiful news: is people are remembering, because every DNA strand that you accrete, there's a cellular memory. So people are coming out of my ceremonies and they're saying, I was just in Atlantis. People are coming out and say, I remember my Lemurian family. And I know it sounds strange for a lot of people, because when I first started to remember my time in Lemuria, I know it's not popular, but more and more people are starting to remember. They're starting to reconnect with their soul. So these things that I'm saying are not words, they're active cellular memory. And that's what I'm saying, is it lives inside each person. And we're living in a time right now where it's don't believe a word I say. Go experience your multidimensional self, and then you will remember, I am ancient. Oh, I do have multiple lives. Oh, I can connect with my Oversoul. Oh, I can choose when I want to go. Oh, okay, I was in Atlantis. And it's all happening right now because there is no time.
Tell me about these lost cities of Lemuria and Atlantis, because I believe that they were very highly advanced civilizations. There used to be telepathic communications. There used to be electric warfare. I believe there were humanoids who were up to 15 feet tall and things of that sort. So can you tell me more about this? What's the spiritual significance of these places, really?
Absolutely. I think the spiritual significance is history will repeat itself unless we learn from the past. So in Atlantis, before Egypt, there was Atlantis. And Atlantis, there was I won't go too deep into it, but yes, we could talk to dolphins. This is like, people remember, when people are remembering, yes, we had telepathy. Yes, we had access to our multidimensional self. So Atlantis for a while was thriving because it had access to a multidimensional soul, higher energy, right? And this is why, long story short, there was a group there that started pulling energy from Mother Earth, from the core of Mother Earth. They started to get hungry for power. And so they started to pull, they're called the Templar Melchizedeks, and they started to pull this energy. And as you know, there was a great flood, an explosion. And Atlantis, which used to be this big, massive, technologically advanced city, literally there was an explosion and there was a great flood. Okay? And so now Bermuda Islands, there's remnants in Azores Islands in Portugal. There's little remnants. Most of it is underneath the earth, but there's little remnants. If you go to Azores, if you go to parts of Florida, they'll talk about Atlantis. So, and then there was a migration after Atlantis, the flood, to Egypt. Now, if you go to Egypt, there's all these people talking about Sirius B, and there was these advanced beings, and that's because for a while Egypt also had access to the sixth dimension. So there's ability for sixth-dimensional beings to come to Earth through the 6-3 portal, right? And this is why you'll see, all these ancient Egyptian figures. And so, this is the multidimensional nature of not only humanity. And every time you remember your cellular memory, you'll remember your time in Atlantis. You'll remember your time in Lemuria, because it's all happening right now on a certain frequency. So, the same thing that happened back then, there was a group that was trying to pull resources from Mother Earth. It's happening right now too. They're fracking, they're pulling the water of Mother Earth, they're polluting the water, they're looking for the oil, the gold, right? So if we don't learn from the past, history will repeat itself. Yeah, so this is actually a natural ability of all human beings. So telepathy is when you activate your fourth, fifth, and sixth stranded DNA. So at a certain frequency, when you activate your soul and your oversoul, it's already happening in my life. You can communicate with people through the unified field. So everything is frequency. So then when you start activating your soul and your oversoul, there's certain things that start coming online. This is the gift of everybody. It's not just the avatars. It's not just in Atlantis. But you can start to, how can I say, clairvoyance, clairaudience, all of these bilocation. And eventually, like the great avatars did, they can do what is called transmigration, which is you can blink in and blink out, take your physical body with you, and you can go to a different space-time location. Is this easy to do? No, you have to embody your full avatar Cristo self. So in Atlantis, it's not that they were more special than us. They had just access to higher frequencies, which they were natural abilities, right? Which is the natural ability when we activate our, 12-stranded DNA. So, and everybody has unique gifts. So there's certain people who are clairvoyant. There are certain people who are clairaudient. And so in Atlantis, they had access to advanced technologies. But remember, now I'm starting to meet some of my scientist friends who are channeling Atlantean technology. Because when you can access your simultaneous self in Atlantis, right, you retain the wisdom and the information that you learned there. You can access that through your meditation, through telepathy, whatever, right? So yeah, these are all natural abilities. But yes, Atlantis had advanced technologies which are starting to come back now into humanity. There's one technology, if you look up my friend Stephen Young, Dr. Stephen Young, he's channeling Atlantean technology. So he's making these, I don't even know what they're called. I don't know what you call it. It's like contraptions of crystals and things and wires and everything like this. And they're doing like teleportation. They're working with their dreams. But remember, I always like to say the greatest technology is your 12-stranded DNA. So in the ceremonies that I facilitate, people are experiencing things. And remember, I always say, once you know, you cannot not know.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. You just spoke about the 12-stranded DNA. I'd finally like to come to the power of the DNA. The last call that we had, you offered some fascinating insights that I'd never heard of. So can you tell me about the power of the DNA that people don't really know of?
Scientists say 97% of our DNA is junk because they couldn't see it.
Correct.
It's not junk.
Yeah.
God does not create junk. It's potential DNA. So the fourth, fifth, and sixth stranded DNA is the soul. And if you activate this, then you'll have intuition. And if you follow your intuition, then you will never go wrong in life because it only has your highest evolutionary potential in mind. But you will not be living from your 3D. It won't make sense to your 3D mind because your 3D mind thinks, I have to do this, I have to go to work, But your soul will tell you 2 weeks before you're about to become a partner at LA's biggest psychiatric hospital firm, quit your job. And the mind will say, but I have 300,000 loan, I have to do this, No, this is what happened to me. And I quit my job. And once I understood how to quiet my mind and to breathe and to follow my superconscious mind, it will lead you on your highest evolutionary potential. Now, the 7th, 8th, 9th strand of DNA is the oversoul. So these are all things in the DNA, inside the DNA. The DNA projects the hologram. Your reality is created by your DNA. So when you're sending it different input, you can only control your input. Thoughts, words, beliefs, attitudes, your DNA is listening. And if you continuously send it the right thoughts, words, attitudes, and beliefs, it will literally begin to create your reality according to your beliefs. So it be done unto you, right? So this is how we are co-creating through our DNA, through every thought, word, attitude, belief that we have. And we are co-creating. We're the creator, director, and producer of our own movie. But the problem is right now, most of humanity is being brainwashed by tell-lie vision programming, by radio programming. And so your input is coming from a system and from a frequency that is trying to trap you in a frequency fence. But if you can expand your mind, do the pranayama, do the yoga, do the and send it the right thoughts, words, attitudes, and beliefs, then your frequency will start expanding. Your DNA will start projecting a different reality. And this is how powerful we are. And the power is not outside of ourselves. The power is within ourselves in the DNA.
Can you give us one such technique to restructure our DNA?
Yeah. So for your listeners out there, remember there's no force in source. For there to be love, there always has to be a choice. So if you're at home and if you're listening and you're like, maybe what this doctor is saying, there's a little bit of truth. I'm not sure. I'm curious. Okay? If you are at that point right now, then all I want you to do, if you want, is to say, now, repeat after me, I give permission to my higher self to show me the truth of who I really am. Show me who I really am. I give you permission. Just by saying this, you have communicated with your oversoul, your avatar, your higher self, and it will go to work for you to begin to put into your life the right podcast, the right teacher, the right book, the right technology for you to experience your own multidimensional self. Because once you know, you cannot not know. Yeah.
I have a bunch of rapid fire questions for you, Dr. Lee. So maybe we could take a minute or minute and a half at best, right? Help me locate the multiple exit points in the human body or the system.
So it's the exit points are not within the body. Okay, the exit points are frequency. So when you reach a certain frequency, you might be given a choice to exit. When you reach a certain frequency, you might be given a choice to exit. So like they're markers, if you want to say frequency markers. It's not something that lives inside of the body.
Because what I think spiritually, this has always been a good entry point and an exit point for the souls to leave. So from our yogic shastras, we say the soul enters from here. The Brahmarandhara is what we call this. And it also exits from here for the higher beings.
Yeah.
So would you agree to that?
Okay, yeah, I misunderstood you. I thought you meant soul leaving and transitioning and leaving the body for good, dying. So yeah, I agree. The crown chakra is an amazing point for a frequency to come in and out of the crown. And then as you also know in your tradition, the third chakra, the solar plexus, is also a portal, right? So you can pop out of your solar plexus and you can pop out of your head.
There are some secrets to the creation, and you talk about 26 such elements to creation. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Oh, I think maybe you're referring to, so in general chemistry class, I was a general chemistry lab instructor. So the periodic table on Earth right now, they've only discovered 121 elements, right? There's hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, right? But this is finite life. In eternal life systems, there's 144 elements at least. So scientists are later, slowly, going to start discovering new elements. And so there's a very specific way to restore the eternal life potential by reintroducing the missing elements that scientists have yet to discover.
Mm-hmm. And what is the secret behind these missing elements? And there are 26 of such kinds.
Yeah. So the universe is mathematical. So 12 times 12 is 144, right? So once you restore your 12-stranded DNA through the sound, light, and techniques, you will start beginning to restore your natural elements as well.
Okay. Can you give us one sound, light, and technique?
Yeah. What I will say is begin working with colors. Every color is a dimension. Every color is a bandwidth of frequency. So for example, the pink sweater you're wearing is a very high frequency. So when you start imagining white golden light coming through your crown, this is a 12, 13 dimensional frequency. 15 dimension is a light pink. 14 dimension is a light, it's almost like a light blue. 13 dimension is a light gold. So when you start working with these lighter pastel colors, you're starting to work with the upper dimensions, right? So you can start to work with certain frequencies through colors.
So lighter the colors, higher the frequency?
For the most part. So there's pastel colors are very high frequency. Like light pink is 15. Yeah.
Okay, so if I want to access higher frequencies, a good technique would be to start wearing lighter color and perhaps pastels.
If you
and
want,
white, I'm assuming, would
if
be
you want, but
best.
if you want to be grounded and rooted, because there's a whole system of New Age system that says you should go to a different higher frequency and you want to go to but actually the spirituality is bringing those higher frequencies into the body. It's not going and leaving your body. It's bringing heaven to earth. It's not going to heaven. We came to earth to be human. to experience in our body. This is good. So actually these days, red, root chakra, I like red. Yeah, but if you want to experiment a little bit, with higher frequencies, lighter frequencies, you can do this through colors.
What is the significance of the 8th chakra?
8th chakra is the direct connection point to source, the direct connection point to the source of all energy. So through your crown chakra, 7th, comes down, there's a stream of energy which literally directly connects you to the source of all energy. So when you're connected to the source of all energy, some people call this the permanent seed atom. They call it 0 point. In eternal life wisdom, we call it the azure. If you're not connected to the source of all energy, the 8th chakra, then you're going to need energy from other people. You're going to need compliments, fake compliments from other people. You're going to need to parasitize and vampire energy from other people.
Can you give us one quick technique to work towards activating the 8th chakra?
Sure. You could take your 3 fingers like this. So this is the thumb, index, and the middle finger. Your right hand is for electric, for giving. Left hand is receptive, for receiving. You could tap on your 8th chakra and imagine. So imagination is the bridge to the invisible world. Behind your thymus gland, there's a morphogenetic chakra. And you can just say, Azarai Inai, I return to the one. And imagine there's a pure light coming straight into your 8th chakra. Azarai Inai, I return to the one. Azarai Inai, I return to the one. And so as you tap on it, as you speak to it, and you intend to do it, and you visualize it, then you're beginning to reactivate your morphogenetic chakra, your 8th chakra.
What is the importance of dragons, spiritually speaking?
So there's different levels and multiple levels of everything. So just like dragons are not what human beings see as a dragon. We've created this image of dragons, but were dragons here once? Yes, they were. But what are dragons? The dragon lineage, there's different, just like there's different types of humans, there's different types of dragons. So the most ancient, only the ones that I work with, they're actually, if you want to call it, creator races. So they're the people who, the consciousness that laid the foundations of the ley lines, the dragon lines of Mother Earth, the brain of Mother Earth. They're creator races. So, they're very, very ancient, powerful creator races. There's people contacting me every single day as soon as I put out the video about the dragons, telling me how they remember their dragon lineage. They remember their dragon lineage. So, this is all happening. But remember, it's in your cellular memory. It's in your cellular memory. Once you have to activate your cellular memory. So everything I'm saying will not make sense until you experience it.
What about dogs?
Yeah, dogs are not like human where they have like an individual soul. They have a Kanthara oversoul. So they all come from an oversoul, and they were seeded. They did not evolve from wolves. They were seeded to be companions of human beings. So they were literally seeded to be companions of human beings. And they have an oversoul where they all come from a lineage where they're programmed to be loyal. They're programmed to, be the companions. And through a long period of time, very, very rare, but if they really entrain to the human and they really entrain to the frequency of the human, on very special cases, not often, the dog can be granted a human soul spark.
Okay. So a dog can take birth as a human? That is
It's
a
rare.
possibility.
It's very rare, but it can happen. And it has to.
Okay.
It's an exception, not a rule. Yeah.
You talk about these broadcast signals and tuning into these broadcast signals. You talk about probes, ships, entities, false gods. What are they exactly?
So there are, if you want to say, energies or entities that do not have a body. So in the lower 4th astral world, remember the heart chakra, 4th dimension, green. There's most people go there when they dream. There's a lower 4th astral world, and so there's an upper 4th astral. It's split. The astral world was split. So in the lower 4th astral world, there are disembodied energies, disembodied entities. Some people would call them ghosts. But remember, if there's a frequency match, then, for example, a lot of these channelers are giving consent for a different energy to come into their body, right? So if there's a frequency match, these entities or ghosts or whatever you want to call them are looking for a body, and it only can happen through a frequency match. So there's disembodied energies and entities that don't have a body. So it's such a privilege to have a body as a human being. And so what I will say is, be in your body, stay in your body so that nothing else can come into your body. Yeah.
And if I'm more denser, let's say I'm depressed or anxiety, do I become a good magnet for such entities then?
It's a good question. Yes. So these entities or energies disembodied oftentimes can feed off of false evidence appearing real, which is fear, lower frequency. So through shame, through prolonged periods of depression, through prolonged periods of shame, through prolonged periods of guilt, there can be a match. But also it's through unprotected energy. When you open into the invisible world and you don't have protection, then these energies and entities can also attach. For example, through unprotected plant medicine ceremonies, through unprotected, sometimes even through sex or sacred energy exchange, through unprotected, when a lot of people drink a lot, their frequency gets lower, right? So there's all of these different ways in these disembodied energies can enter.
Okay. What is the spiritual power of the nose?
So personally, I made a video. It was kind of funny. I just said, smell them before you fall in love. So scent, there's a reason why dogs sniff each other. And scent is the most underrated healing modality on the planet. Just by smelling something, you can remember a past life. Your cells remember through scent. It's such a powerful spiritual ability to really feel frequency through your scent. So if you're not attracted to their scent, it's a very, very good sign that there's some type of a disharmony in the energetic field, right? So this is the power of scent. It can awaken cellular memory. It can heal. This is why, like, when Jesus was born, they put frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And this is why there's a whole movement of essential oils. When Mary Magdalene anointed...
Aromatherapy.
Yes, it's therapy. And so it's the most underrated form. And rose is the highest frequency plant. But like when Mary Magdalene was anointing Jesus before, she broke a spikenard on his feet and she washed his feet. And the scent of the spikenard filled the whole room. So I think scent is probably the most underrated. You can touch, you can see, you can taste, but smell is also like a very important way, not only to heal, but to remember. And trust your scent, trust the smell.
And this would be the natural scent, not the perfumed one, right?
Yeah, natural scent.
Natural scent,
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about these two individuals. These are global personalities. One is Trump and the other is Elon Musk. What kind of spiritual planes are they operating on?
Yeah, it's a good question. So first of all, I just want to define spirituality, okay? Spirituality, all it means is awareness, being more aware. So on a certain level, Trump is very aware. I've met, actually, people who are very close to Trump, who've lived with Trump, who know Trump very well, and I've spoken to them. And I asked them, so like, how is he? And they say, he's a psychic. He would tell me, tomorrow you're going to go to the store, and you're going to meet this person, and it would happen. But remember, this is not, so what does that mean, really? He's activated his superconscious mind, his intuition, his sixth sense. Right? So on a certain level, Trump is very aware. He's very spiritual if you're looking at it from a certain perspective. Now, remember, I also said before people come to Earth, they choose their role. So Trump is a disruptor. He's playing his role, and his role is to disrupt systems and old systems by being who he is, Trump, right? And so he's doing exactly what he came here to do, and he's very aware of what he's doing. He's very smart. And most people who I actually know him personally say he's a wonderful man. So, but remember, there's 8 billion opinions of Trump because perception creates reality. Same thing with Elon Musk. He has a soul contract. He comes from, and I'm very aware of people who know Elon Musk. He's very conscious. He's done a lot of different multidimensional experiences. Okay, so he's very aware of the multiple levels of existence, and he has a brilliant mind. Now, everybody has an opinion of him, but yeah, he's also here to play his role, which is to, bring different types of technology. Some people call it transhumanism, but he's doing what he came here to do, and everybody gets to choose. There's no good or bad. There is no good or bad. There's no polarization. It's just awareness. I'm aware. Trump's playing his perfect role. Elon Musk is playing his perfect role. And my perception creates my reality. So instead of saying they're good or they're bad or I hate or I like, just observe for what it is. Energy. The energy of who they are.
Great. This is very interesting for me to know that the melanin, which gives color to the eyes, the hair, the skin, is just not that. It can be a doorway to divinity, to God.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
Yeah, so...
And also, does it mean, just to add to that, people who have higher melanin, let's say Africans or Indians also to some extent, South Americans, would they be more closer to the divine or have that
divine connect.
Yeah. So melanin on the physical plane, sure, they taught us that it helps with pigment and skin pigment and things like that. But on a spiritual plane, it can hold light. It can hold light. So the more melanin you have, the more light you can hold and the more power you have. And so that's why a lot of these indigenous nations, okay, in Africa, all over the world, really, in Native America, right? And all over the world, these indigenous cultures have been systematically on purpose persecuted. Because through not only through the melanin and their ability to hold light, they were guardians of certain lands. It's what's underneath the land. So a lot of people think like, oh, the war for Iraq is for oil. But it's not just for oil. That's what they tell you on the news. Underneath the earth, there's very important portals. And whoever controls these portals controls the energy that flows in and out of Mother Earth. Some people call them stargates. So these indigenous were protectors. They had melanin. They were able to hold the light. And they had specific codes, which were protectors of certain lands. But that's why, if you want to say, Columbus and all these other, the history books will tell you one thing. But no, they were really coming to like take the land of the indigenous and to take the protectors of the land out of the land, right? And to control what's underneath the earth, the stargates of Mother Earth.
So my observation about people who have higher melanin essentially comes from plain observation that Indians, or Asians, the whole of Asia, have been spiritually far more evolved. A, B, even if you look at South America, the whole shaman culture comes from South America, right? The voodoo, the hoodoo, and all of that. So by observation, is it okay to surmise that people who have higher melanin would have a greater advantage to be connected to the divine?
Yeah, so I would definitely say like there were different seedings, right? Different tribes. So, and they were seated on the third seating. Remember I said there's 3 seatings. So there was the Yun Melchizedeks, the Asians, there was, and there was different seatings. And yeah, I would say because of the melanin content, you can hold more light. So there is definitely a more spiritual inclination for certain groups of people. And this is why in India, there's such a high spiritual community and so many gurus come out of India, right? And I definitely think there's a correlation there for sure.
What about the hair, the spiritual significance of the hair?
The hair is an extension of the nervous system. So the hair stores memory. And so this is why, like in Native America, when the Native Americans, they would, when they would scalp their hair, then they lost their ability to track. They couldn't sense. And this is why in Avatar, the movie, he takes his hair and he connects it to the tree. It's an extension of the nervous system. And it holds memory. So
memory, correct.
Yeah, and so, for example, for me, I used to have, I was walking in Peru one time, and a random market, and an indigenous Peruvian guy comes up to me, and he taps me, and he says, hey, brother, grow your hair out. If you grow your hair, it will help you find your ancestors. And sure enough, I grew my hair out, and I remembered my ancestors. And so the hair is an extension of your nervous system. But recently, for me, it holds memory too. I was starting a new cycle in my life. I was starting a new phase in my life. So I cut my hair. And that was significant for me, a new beginning. So the hair is an extension of your nervous system and it holds memory. It's intelligent.
So do you recommend haircuts or would you recommend just grow them out?
So there's no good or bad. But what I recommend is make a conscious decision. For me, right? I made a conscious decision about 2 months ago to cut all of my hair. And I did this because I understood it's an extension of my nervous system and it holds memory. But I wanted a fresh start. I wanted a new beginning. So I cut my hair. But I will also say there's many layers. So there's the physical. Some people want to appear beautiful and that's what's most important for them for their hair. So then if that's what's important to you, there's no right or wrong. Just make your hair beautiful because the physical body is like art. So yeah, you can utilize your hair in many different ways. If you're out in the wilderness and you need to survive, right? Not a lot of people are these days, but you can utilize your hair to help you. So there's many different ways. Yeah.
Because in India, there are 2 spiritual traditions. One, just keep growing out their hair. They're not allowed to chop them. And the other would be, and therefore you see they have matted hair, right? And the other would be that you're just constantly shaving off your head. The monks, for instance. So yeah, I've often wondered why that is the case, but yeah, this makes a lot of sense. So Dr. Samuel Lee, it has been such a pleasure. And I do have to compliment you. Other than having brilliant knowledge, you have a beautiful smile. So thank you so much for connecting with us. And thank you, Team
Team Tampa, Florida. Thank you all our volunteers, Ranjit Anna, especially to you. Thank you for connecting and making this happen. And Dr. Samuel Lee, thank you again for co-creating this space and this conversation. We've connected with you previously and you've been hugely instrumental in putting this together. So I'm so grateful, and I would love to meet you in person and even otherwise another time with another conversation, and huge shout out to everyone who's been instrumental in making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I would love to. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Namaskaram, I'm Shloka. We've spent a lot of time in developing this product, which is the authentic A2 Gir Cow Ghee by the brand name Yogic Organic. We've spent several years to bring this product to you. It has been sourced directly from Gujarat, from the best quality, free grazing A2 Gir cows. It is prepared in the traditional Bilona way, which is completely organic. It is churned from curd and not cream, which gives it that slightly grainy texture. It is rich in aroma, light on your digestion, and you already know that A2 Gir Cow Ghee has several health benefits. This is one of the highest quality of Gir Cow Ghees that are available in India as we speak. My endeavor was to bring to you the real goodness of authentic A2 Gir Cow Ghee, and here it is. Pre-orders are now open. To order, just call or WhatsApp on +91 8493 863427. In case you'd like to be a part of our online and in-person yoga, diet and spiritual programs, you can join our WhatsApp group below, where we post all our upcoming programs and give free tips on health, diet and lifestyle.